presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wylde.
But really, it's just the first game of the season. You know why we all getting over.
I was more for the fact that we have actual games to talk about.
And news that because of traffic, we didn't miss.
Wow.
We might have missed that news if it weren't for
We're
traffic.
starting an hour later than we normally would.
I'm sorry.
Well, Steve, you
My
can't
fault.
really help it.
No.
There is one main artery in and out of Toronto. It's called the Don Valley Parkway.
It's 3 lanes, which is stupid. And guess what? Today, it was 2.
Why, Steve?
So that they could park trucks with orange construction things on them and then do no construction.
I've noticed that happening a lot in our city. There is a...
right behind the Bloor exit, which if you're from here, your neck is full of veins.
Really?
In Toronto, we have the longest street in the world.
Young
Street. And we have one exit to get to Yonge Street from the west side of the city.
Right.
That exit has been closed for 6 months because construction.
And it's great because now we're taking car lanes and we're making them into bike lanes in a country where for 6 or 8 months of the year, it's below zero. It's below freezing. And you know what?
Isn't Amsterdam the same way? Or the Netherlands?
When was the last time the Netherlands got snow bombed?
I don't know. I don't know enough about them.
I think
I know they were all too high to care.
They're a little bit warmer.
But it's in Scandinavia and they all ride bikes. That's what I figured they get a lot of snow.
It's a little south of... The Netherlands isn't like Norway, Sweden, Finland.
No.
It's like on that hook down, like it's across from London. Like it's not far.
I've never been there, but I hear Russia is entirely bike land. It's just pass and
That's
pass.
why,
I have been there.
That's why the
not in
Russians are
winter.
such great skaters.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
there
Now we
we
know.
go.
All
There
right.
we go.
Ovechkin grew up riding a bike
He
everywhere.
did. Amsterdam-Gorsk.
These are facts. I hope you guys all know that these are facts.
Yes, FAX.
Yes.
Know the
facts.
Absolutely.
Um,
ESPN.
So, Steve, is that damn video up yet? Because I'm going to start tweeting you about
It's
it in a second.
up.
All right.
You bunch of
You've probably seen it
lovely
already.
people.
So we got a
battled.
lot to cover on the show. We'll talk a little bit about Jágr's bonuses. We're going to talk a little bit about the games that happened last night, of course, and Jack Eichel's contract and a whole bunch of other things. However, we must first start
Jack Eichel's contract.
with the breaking news.
like so far down.
Breaking news. And this is not huge news,
It's a
but
little
it's
bit
still
huge.
pretty big.
Yeah.
Las Vegas had obviously picked up Malcolm Subban on waivers.
A bit of a confusing move. Not that he's bad, but that it'd be like the Leafs claiming a winger.
Yeah. You got one. Or 10.
Yeah, you have 90.
Yeah. So they pick him up. And obviously Marc-Andre Fleury is supposed to be the starter there.
Yep,
And,
looks good.
And
Or
they thought, and we
preseason.
thought, okay, well, and all of us, I believe, had Calvin Pickard picked or Pickard as the guy. Calvin Pickard picked as the guy that would go as their backup, and he played well enough.
Picked. Let's see. Because
And unfortunately, it looks as though Mr. Pickard is on waivers today.
it's a bit of a confusing move, and I'm trying to figure out the logic behind it. I can't imagine they're going to send him down.
Well, I don't think that he's going to clear waivers. I think that there's going to be a lot of teams, Leafs included, that will put in a claim on him.
Absolutely.
How would you not?
Well, and now this is interesting. I'm not sure exactly how this works because waivers goes in order of the standings, does it not?
Yes.
Well,
so
the Leafs won last night. So
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that there would be a billion teams before the Leafs that would claim him.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, like Winnipeg, maybe.
Winnipeg?
We'll get to that in a
No,
second.
no, that's not
But
good.
I find that crazy. Like Pete Blackburn actually just tweeted. He's like, "Man, Malcolm Subban must have had that one great practice." And George McPhee did say that he's not good enough to play in the NHL right now, but they are going to keep him up. They want him. They believe in him. So that's really interesting.
The Knights, so I had to check. The Knights have 6 goalies under contract. Oscar Dansk, Maxim Legacy, and Dylan Ferguson in the minors.
in
And
relation to Manny?
I was wondering that. I do not know. Malcolm, there is relation to PK. Calvin Pickard and Marc-Andre Fleury. 6 goalies. 6.
Not Calvin Pickard anymore. My guess is
He's gone.
he's gone for sure.
I think he's gone.
Kind of interesting that there's a lot of teams that need goaltending. I almost wonder if Calgary would put in a claim on him too, because they would have, and how would that work? Because we're one game into the season.
They just signed Eddie Lack.
Who's less in the standings, Calgary or Winnipeg? Is it Winnipeg because they had more goals against?
I think
who
it would
wins
be by goal differential. So Winnipeg lost by 5, Calgary lost by 3. But I don't think Calgary would put in a claim. It's one game. I don't think Winnipeg's going to put in a claim either. I think it's got to be someone who began this season unsure of their goaltending situation. I think Calgary signed 2 guys going, and done, we addressed it. And Winnipeg signed a guy going, great, we addressed it. Signed him to 2 years, Steve Mason. So they got to make that work. The Leafs make a little bit of sense. But again, they just signed Curtis McElhinney for 2 years.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you can then send Curtis McElhinney down.
You can. I'm trying to figure out. I don't understand. Like, it's so good that Vegas doesn't play till Friday, because how do they have a cap compliant team?
Well,
not cap compliant, but how do they have a 23-man roster? They sent Shipachyov down to the minors in a paper transaction. I have no idea how this works. I don't get it. Like, Cap Friendly still lists that they have 10 defensemen right now.
Yeah. I've wondered about that too. So, and they're 10 NHL defensemen.
Jason Garrison, Lucas Biza, Clayton Stoner is on IR. Nate Schmidt, Braden McNabb, John Merrill, Colin Miller, Derek Engeland, Griffin Reinhart, Brad Hunt. And none of them, I don't know, unless I'm reading this wrong, none of them are waiver exempt.
That Derek Engeland deal, man, I do not get that.
I found the information I was looking for.
Oh, what do you have?
If a waiver claim is made before November 1st, waiver priority is based on the previous year's standings.
Oh, so the Leafs would be right in the middle then.
There you go.
Probably.
Flames would claim after them, I think, and Winnipeg would claim before them.
I'm trying to think.
Just based on the teams we brought up.
Oh, okay. If he makes it this far, you know where he's going? Minnesota.
Really?
I would think Minnesota.
Dude, they're one of the top teams in the league. There's no way they make it.
They are, but they got Dubnyk and who? Who's their backup? The last I checked, it was Alex Stalock.
Wow.
Who couldn't stick with the Marlies.
Former Leaf great.
Yeah, Alex
Former Marley
Stalock.
great, Alex Stalock.
Trying to see, they got Adam Vey. I don't know anything about him. Derek Barbaro, don't know anything about him. Steve Mahalik, I don't know anything about him. Nicholas Vedberg, I have heard of him, yes. Yeah, I don't know. I think Pickard makes some sense for Minnesota if he makes it that far.
Let's have a look at last year's standings. Can you pull them up?
Oh, my God.
Jesse, you got him?
Jesse's got him.
Okay, so Colorado could put in a claim.
Oh, that's conference.
That's by conference. Let's go by league. Colorado putting in a claim makes a lot of sense.
Because they just get him back.
Yeah.
I didn't even think but they got Bernier and Varlamov.
Vancouver, Arizona, New Jersey, Buffalo, Detroit, no. Dallas, they've kind of solved their thing. Florida, LA, Carolina, Winnipeg, Philly, Tampa. Tampa finished that low.
Who's backing up Vasilevsky?
Budai.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty good.
I think.
Yeah, it's not bad. Islanders, who I think still have 2 or 3 goalies under contract. I'm not really sure.
This is the problem with the beginning of the season. If you had gaps, you made signings to fill them.
There's a chance he slides to Toronto. There's a chance. Because I don't
think the Leafs would do it.
I do. I don't see why you wouldn't.
It's just money to McElhinney. We have money. We can bury that.
It's true.
And if you want to free up that $1 million later in the season, then you just put one of them on waivers.
Pickard, by the way, as a rookie, 16 NHL games was a .932, very promising. The following season was a .922 in 20 games, very promising. Last year played 50 and was a .904
on the worst
team, banged up team in the league.
Yeah,
I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, and I just wonder if they, why wouldn't you take him to see what's up? And also, I think we should mention, and people have been waiting for this to happen. Martin Marincin is officially on waivers
we spent
as of today.
the first 5 minutes talking about Pickard.
There will be $200,000 if he makes it down, which we assume he probably will. Makes it down to the Marlies.
See, I don't know if he's going to be assigned. I think they're putting him on waivers, and then I think it's over the next month or whatever the rule is, they're able to send him down. But they don't need to right now. Like, I thought the whole point of having Rosen in the minors was to get him games.
Right.
So I don't know.
So do you put him on waivers and just keep him?
I don't know.
So if they did send him down, I think $200,000 of his contract would sit on the Leafs NHL roster.
Roughly.
So it's it's negligible, but it's still enough. Interesting to see if what happens there, and I'm wondering if they would have known Vegas. Like, is there a correlation, or is it like you don't know if another team's putting somebody on waivers?
Well, Vegas needs another defenseman even less than they need another goalie. So
I don't mean it like that.
It's not going to be them.
I don't mean it like that, but I wonder if Toronto knew Pickard was going to be on, and they needed to free up a roster spot, and they thought, well, Marincin.
Yeah, I wonder. Colorado should claim both.
Yeah, why not?
Who's going to be in their opening night roster for
poor Mark Marincin, though?
For D?
He just got into a winning team and then back to the basement. That would suck.
Oh, poor guy. Well, that's what you got to do when you're Marty Marincin. I mean, you know what? I don't feel bad for him. Like, we went to bat for him for a long time. There was reason to believe in him. He had every opportunity to, all he had to do was be bottom pairing lefty for a team with bad defense, and he couldn't do it. So how bad am I supposed to feel?
Right.
I'm not glad, but I don't know.
Bye.
I don't feel
good. Feel good that you failed. That's you, Steve.
Idiots. Piece of garbage. Crap. I know. Poor Marty.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks, but that's kind of part of the game, right? That's what you sign up for. So we'll see what happens. It'd be very, very interesting to see if the Leafs put in a waiver claim, but we won't know until 24 hours from right now. But what we do know is that the Leafs strolled into Winnipeg last night and
kicked
kind of
ass.
Surprisingly kicked a lot of ass. And it could have gone either way.
It could have gone Winnipeg's way.
It could have very easily been 7-2 Winnipeg.
The Jets on the power play were 0 for 8.
That's crazy.
That is incredible.
I think I saw a stat. Ron Hainsey played 12 minutes on the penalty kill.
JVR only
That's insane.
JVR only played 5 more seconds total than Hainsey played on the PK alone.
Wow.
It's 36-year-old Ron Hainsey.
And Eric Fehr factored into the
fantastic.
Game. He was fantastic.
I was bummed when the Jets scored a goal with him on the ice and that fourth line on the ice because he was great. The Hainsey-Zaitsev pairing was on for one, and I was bummed for that too because they played fantastic. But, I mean, that game's over. Mm-hmm. That game's over. I wanted Freddie to get the shutout, but that game's over. The Leafs had a goalie. The Jets did not. And that, I think, is the game. I think it was a few factors. The Leafs kind of came on fast and furious. And one thing Babcock does really well, I think, that some other coaches do not, is he kind of keeps a level head about everything. It's difficult to tell his emotions other than he thinks every call against his team is stupid.
Right.
Every time, what was going on? He went to the Leo Komarov School of Confusion. But
Leo Komarov put your face mask down confusion?
Yeah,
did
my
he have
God.
it up?
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
He definitely did.
Okay.
Yeah. But Maurice, the second that puck goes in, and he's not wrong to have this reaction, but it's got to go down your entire bench. He just goes, fuck off. You can completely read his lips. Because I think the Jets had 3 or 4 power plays before that to start the game.
What did they shoot a 16-3?
15-3, 15 shots in the first 13 minutes.
Ridiculous. Leafs first opportunity, bang, it's in the back of your net, and it's Kadri. Hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But then, that one was bad defense, a little bit of bad luck. I'm trying to pull up I'll pull up the box score in front of me. It's defense and bad luck, but then the rest of the way, that's just Mason being a dog pile. That was, thank you. This helps me remember it. Okay, Bozak winning it to JVR. That's a nice, quick little play. Should have never gone in.
It was it almost looked like just a quarterback pass. It was just, it kind of sailed in on an arc. It was weird.
Nylander is never going to get that much time to shoot ever again in his entire NHL
and he was
career.
Patient, too.
Yeah,
he was no, I'm going to wait. Okay, now I got it.
That's a goal scorer. That's hilarious. And I know the defenders were screening Mason, and he never even saw the pass. But holy moly!
Before we get too far with that, can we talk about Jake Gardner's vision on that play? And I think that's something that's going to be a big factor this year. is his vision, and I saw it a little bit in the preseason. Like there's times where Jake Gardner's just like toying with people on the ice.
I'm sure, and he made one mistake last night where he was a little bit too patient.
Jake Gardner.
He is Jake Gardner. People, I think, who have been big Jake Gardner thumpers this entire time are going to groan when I say this, but I don't remember him ever being this poised. Like, he looks fantastic. And I don't know if it was the playoffs that gave him a boost, if he did something extra in the summer that made him extra happy, extra confident. I don't know what it is, but that guy will just hold on to the puck and does not worry about it. Like, because he knows he can get rid of it. He knows he's Jake Gardner. And he knows he's setting up Austin Matthews. Come on. Or no, what did he do? Well, no, it was Matthews to Gardner to Nylander, sorry.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter.
It was Gardner's vision to find Nylander before the rest of the ice even realized that the puck was over there.
Right.
They hadn't even reacted to the fact that the puck went to Jake Gardner before he got it to Nylander.
Right. So it's Nylander's goal. It's Mason's lack of reaction. It's the defense screening. But the reason that goal happens and the reason he has all that time in the world is because Jake Gardner is just a step ahead.
Yes. Yeah.
Didn't look good on Mason, though. Marlowe's goal was... I'm sorry for Steve Mason. I just feel so bad.
He dangled him.
It was rude. Like, it was rude and terrible, and like he dangled him out of his contract. Like, one game into it, he dangled him out of his contract.
And what I loved is that it came from Austin Matthews, and people made a lot of Sid 60 came on this podcast and said, "What, are you going to get Patrick Marleau and not playing with Austin Matthews?"
But what everyone forgot that I forgot until the game started was there's 5-on-5 power play, which Matthews and Marleau were always going to be on the power play together, but there's also that goofy little after the penalty kill line that he puts out. Started with Marleau, Matthews, Nylander, and then went to Marleau, Matthews, Marner, the Marma line.
Math murmur.
Mermel. They have weapons, man. They got a couple weapons.
So
fifth goal shouldn't have gone in.
Which was again Patrick Marleau. 36 seconds in, and then it's dead, and you get Mitch Marner on the power play. Scheifele and Perreault did add goals, and you know what? When Scheifele scored, like there was like a genuine like fist pump, and like people in the MTS Center were super jacked, and I felt it reminded me of. Remember when I think it was Colorado that was losing huge and Matt Duchene scored, and it was like they were losing 4-0 and it was 4-1 when he scored, and he like fist pumped, and then Patrick Waugh got in front of the media the next day and was like, "I can't believe he would do that."
I mean, what is that? What is that? That was terrible. I sound like the wild and crazy guys from SNL.
But I think anybody that has a problem with that doesn't know what it's like to be continually frustrated with a team. Like. I would have been, had it been the other way, I still would have been like, yeah, come back. Because I'm that kind of fan, I think. You know what I mean?
Oh, as a fan, I mean, I saw them in the
first goal of the year.
A little smirk. You're like, hey, hooray. But
can't
like
get your shutout now.
Yeah. And I mean, you do play for that, I think, when you're getting your ass kicked 6-0.
Sure.
You're like, okay, we can at least, what are the things we can take away from them? We'll start with the shutout. Now we'll see if we can actually make a game of it.
Right.
Because you know how it's going to look on the highlights. You know what looks better than 6-0 or 6-1? 6-3. Let's go for that. Let's try.
What didn't happen in a game like that? Fights. Where was all the chippiness?
It's pretty much gone.
Other than Zach Hyman running into the wall of Dustin Byfuglien.
And you know what? Andreas Borgman, an inch here or there, connecting with Scheifele, there would have been a fight. He almost killed him. Borgman almost... You know, he's 230 pounds every time he steps on the ice. Every time he steps into your life. Oh, my God.
He didn't look out of place to me either.
Not at all.
I thought Carrick
fantastic.
He looked great.
Great game.
And it's like, okay, so
Thank you for validating me, Connor.
So they put him...
All preseason, I was like...
They put Connor Carrick in a position where he should have been last year, which is third pairing, right D.
He looked more confident.
Well,
because like during the preseason, he was part of the outside looking in lineup very often, and I wonder if having the other more experienced veteran guys in front of him helped. I don't know what to tell you, but he looked extremely confident.
I think the fact that he doesn't have to play with Gardner or Zaitsev or Riley in that pressure cooker, right? The fact that Hainsey's there, and as much as I don't want to. I know people who are especially advanced stats people will be all over me about Ron Hainsey, and I understand that, but I think that Ron Hainsey, there is something to be said for a guy that's just done it. Been there, unfazed by it mentally. I think Connor Carrick's a top 4 defenseman when he reaches his peak for sure. But I think that you got to give him a couple years or just even a year to go, okay, I don't have to be that right now. Let me get comfortable, which they didn't let him do last year. It was like, you're all we have.
I know.
Please, please hold the fort. And then he got injured, and then he wasn't playing as much, and then it was, he never found his groove again. I think him and Borgman together, they're not going to play hugely important minutes, but every minute's important to a point, and you got to have those guys be solid, and they were very solid.
Name a play you remember of Morgan Rielly's.
Just mostly power play stuff, like hooking around and that sort of thing.
That's it? Good, great. Keep it that way. For the rest of the season, keep it that way.
Just be boring.
That was great. I noticed Morgan Rielly a lot last season.
He took a penalty, right?
Oh, yeah, that was a dumb penalty.
Didn't the entire team take a penalty?
Connor Brown took a penalty. He had 10 penalty minutes last year.
Wow.
I know. I think he had a penalty in the first 2 games, and then he had 6 the rest of the year. Wow. Like, he's just the penalty differential god. A few really dumb penalties. Should we get into Komarov?
Well, I think we should. Here's the thing. So, right call, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then why tempt fate?
Yeah.
To see.
If he knows.
To see. Like, it's the first game of the season. All the players and all the fans are heading into it going, well, now that the games count, they're going to call the games differently. And game 1 is an important game for the refs, too, because it's their opportunity to go, nope. Mm-hmm. No, it is not. Guess what? Slashes are still getting called. I'm still going to be a dick in the face-off circle. I told you about that stupid visor. Get that stupid visor down. They talked to him before the game. Mm-hmm. What are you doing?
I wonder then, first off, why the rule in the first place? What does it do? Why does it matter?
It's probably a liability thing.
Safety.
Yeah. Like Komarov, here's the silly thing. So Komarov does not have to wear a visor.
No,
he's grandfathered in sort of thing.
Oh, he's still on that?
He's one of the last guys that can still...
Yeah. So he can just take it off.
Which is what he did. They took it off.
Okay, I missed that part.
And he said after the game, he's like, I hate it. I'm uncomfortable with it, but they swear that I have to have it that way. And he said, I can't see the puck the same way.
He said he feels unsafe without his visor. Your visor doesn't protect you, Leo.
That's a good point.
What are you doing? It's a hat brim. It looks dope. It looks really stylish. Looks cool. But I don't want a kid emulating Komarov, and I don't want Komarov losing a freaking eye. This fan base knows Brian Berard, man. Like, wear your visor.
Get used to it.
Or don't, I guess. But if you don't, at least you won't get us a penalty. Wear it. Get used to it.
I wondered
wear it in practices.
Why he wouldn't just, and I get that NHL players are super specific and super suspicious. Or, sorry, superstitious, that's what I mean.
Wear a bigger one. Like, even when it's down, it doesn't look like it protects very much. No. Wear a bigger one. Wear it down to your nose.
They are superstitious. They're picky and finicky and that sort of thing. However, you are a professional athlete. You're being paid millions of dollars. That little piece should not affect your game that much.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a Leaf fan who loves Leo Komarov. Come on, man.
It was a distraction in the first period of the season.
We didn't need that.
No. From a guy who might end up on the fourth line, who's supposed to be a leader. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we love Leo.
Yeah,
we love Leo,
and we
just like we love Nas, and everyone thought I friggin' hated Nas.
I have a personal vendetta against Nas. I disagree with one thing that he did, therefore I hate him.
The only person I hate more than Nas and Kadri is Leo Komarov.
I liked Illmatic, and I'm a supporter of
Nas.
I
see what he did.
See, I was more supportive of Jay-Z.
Oh.
But Ether
wins every time.
You know? The precursor to Sheether.
Oh my God, Sheether.
I'm sorry.
Wow, wrong.
You
got a little deep into hip-hop there.
Let's leave Nikki out.
Ron McLean. We have not mentioned that Ron McLean was on our last show.
He was on our last show.
People can go listen to that show.
No, I just feel like on any other day that wasn't the first game of the season, we'd be like, guess what? Oh my God, that was crazy. Let's unpackage that for an hour. But no, we're not going to do that.
No.
We have to listen to it.
reaction podcast.
Yeah. So we had Ron
Funny
on,
you should say that.
And now we're going to talk about how we had Ron on.
Well, someone from Sportsnet's like, can you write a post around the podcast? So I might do that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Meant to tell you that.
Okay.
You're fine to go now.
So beyond that, let's just break this down, and I thought this was really important. I want to look at the Leafs goal scores, okay?
All right.
So we have Kadri, Van Riemsdyk, Nylander, Marleau, Marner, Matthews. Firstly, Marner, Nylander, Matthews each get their first goal. And it almost looked like Kadri had a second on that Matthews goal. So either way,
Kadri came close to a hat trick last night.
He did.
He was a couple inches away from, I think it was Marner's goal and Matthews' goal. Yeah.
Then on the assists, Van Riemsdyk, Bozak, Gardner, Matthews, Marner, Kadri, Komarov, Van Riemsdyk, Morgan Riley. For those keeping track, that's Van Riemsdyk with 3 points, by the way. Connor Carrick, Andreas Borgman on the last one, which is cool.
Yep. Borgman's got that first point out of the way.
All the guys who were supposed to score goals for this team this season scored goals last night.
That's a great way to look at it.
So all the guys that are supposed to get the job done got the job done. Now, I'm not expecting them to do it all on the same night every night, but I think that's a great start. And
it
especially for Patrick
Marleau.
It's like you get that first goal, and that Matthews setup was fantastic, and he dangled contract. Mason. As you said, dangled him out of his contract.
He did. He dangled him out of his contract. Frig, I wish I thought of that for the LFR.
It was to me that was like somebody sent me a tweet, and forgive me, I forget your exact Twitter handle, but someone said all my memories of David Clarkson and my worries about Patrick Marleau faded away.
I mean, this isn't the most encouraging comparison, but you know who it reminds me of a little bit? Owen Nolan. First game as a Leaf, comes in, veteran, all this prestige and all these expectations heading into what's supposed to be a playoff run. First game, 2 goals.
Yeah. And just gives you that little bit of ease. And
from the Sharks.
And I hope in Patrick Marleau's case that he, this is a way for him to go, huh?
You saw it on his face.
I think it was.
You saw it on his face. All gone. All gone.
And those are the first 2 goals he's ever not scored for the San Jose Sharks in his entire career.
He's up to 510 now.
Wow.
508 with the Sharks.
So it's Hyman is the only player in the top 9 who didn't get a point?
Which fits. I mean, what do we expect?
6.5 minutes on the PK.
And again, that's not that's what he does, right? And he looked great last night. They all looked great. I thought it was a really, really good look, except for that first kind of shaky period. And you know what?
They took too many penalties. That was it.
They locked down that penalty kill, which was awesome. I want to focus on Eric Fehr a little bit, just because 2 weeks ago we all said it's going to be Miro Aaltonen. And if it's not
Eric Fehr being third in the minors.
And if it's not Miro Aaltonen, it's going to be Dominic Moore. And then, Eric Fehr will be a spare, or as you said, in the minors. Now Eric Fehr has come in, and for the one game he played with the Leafs last year, he looked pretty good. And wow, that's a great solution.
I think Dominic Moore might have been sitting up there going, uh-oh.
He looked
really he's good. A team guy, and he's going, hooray. I mean, he gets $1 million no matter what.
And at this point in your life,
if they want to send him down to the minors, he gets a raise. Doesn't have to pay escrow. But, Fehr looked great. Fehr looked very, very good. He's one of those, just condor wingspan type guys. He's thick. There was one play where he just kind of, he used an edge and, 2 strides to basically carry him from halfway through the neutral zone to behind the other team's net. Just battling. He's a... You know what is going to turn into more of a story, I hope, anyway, is the Leafs murdered that trade. They killed it. They got a player who's on their penalty kill and is a key part of it. He's on their 4th line and is a key part of it, obviously. And a 4th-round pick. And a guy who's not around anymore. For Frank Corrado, who's in the minors for the Penguins and may never play.
That's a pretty good trade.
That's a great trade. It was supposed to be a cap dump. A little bit like the Lupul deal, which is now looked at in a different light. But, that was supposed to be just a throwaway cap dump. Here you go, take this bum. I don't know if the Penguins quite had that in mind or the Leafs did too. Really, it was the Leafs helping the Penguins out of a bind, heading into a playoff run, I guess. Or adding veteran depth for a playoff run. Yeah. I'm really not sure.
I'm not sure.
We didn't know he was going to break his finger.
Well, and there's a lot of people... A lot of very well-respected and educated hockey people who were like, don't understand that trade. Don't know why they did that. And I mean, whether or not they intended this, it's great.
Some of it, I think, had to do with the expansion draft. They could have exposed him.
Mm-hmm.
They needed 2 people or 3 people or something like that.
Okay.
Which is also why they signed Ben Smith and yada, yada, yada. No, he looked great. And I love righties,
So Freddie Anderson, and then again, we got to talk about the Winnipeg side too. Freddie Anderson apparently is in the best shape of his life.
Looked it.
I got to say that Matthews, Nylander, Marner all looked like they're in great shape. But I think Freddie, of all the guys on the team, like last year, he'd had that injury, right?
Shoulder, yeah.
And that's tough when you're a goalie because you're lifting heavy equipment.
There was a save he made on Laine in the first period that first 5 games Freddie last year would not have made. He had to get that blocker right hand up as fast as he could. And think of how different that game goes and how differently the mood is in Winnipeg today, how different everything is if Laine puts the Jets up 1-0 there.
Right. Yeah.
And it's Laine and he scores again on the Leafs.
Now, with Winnipeg, they didn't look bad. I mean, they really didn't. They, especially in that first period, obviously we took a lot of penalties, or the Leafs took a lot of penalties, but, Winnipeg are a great team. They ought not to worry too much. I think goaltending is going to be an issue for
them. With a great power play.
With a great power play. And probably one of the top lines in hockey. Is it the Scheifele, Ehlers?
Mrs. Dangle was doing her hockey pool, and I was telling her to load up on Jets.
Yeah.
Wheeler, Scheifele. I just wrote a big thing. I wrote an era-adjusted piece that's going to come out about Scheifele versus Dale Hawerchuk.
Cool. Which
sounds stupid. And the conclusion I came to was not stupid. And yeah, Laine, Ehlers, they got Trouba, Myers, Bufflin is as good of a right side as any team in the league. They looked fine. It just didn't go in, and their goalie didn't make enough saves.
Do you think Steve Mason just had a rough night and that was it?
Maybe. I mean, what I said in my video, like what I want to try to do this year is like an "If I Were You" segment. So like I'm always talking from the Leafs fans' perspective. So I'm going to try to get into the
Jets fans' heads.
Yes, and whoever happens to be playing the Leafs that night. But I mean, what I want to hear a clip from after the first game last year. I want to hear what we were talking about with regards to Frederik Andersen. We probably felt pretty similarly to how Jets fans feel about Steve Mason right now. New goalie.
Yeah. We had 4 goals from one player, and we still couldn't win the game last year.
That's unbelievable.
That was a first opening game win since 2013-2014.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah. By the way, I calculated it last night and tweeted this out. Austin Matthews in game openers, like in 2 season openers, has 5 goals and 2 assists.
First player to ever have at least 3 points in each opener of the first 2 seasons of his career.
He's the first player ever.
Yeah, I saw that tweeted by the NHL account today.
Multiple points.
Sorry, yeah. Let me look that up exactly because it's very specific.
How you hear it? Let Jesse look that up. Do you need the computer?
No, I got it right here.
Oh, okay.
Austin Matthews is the 4th player in NHL history to start his first 2 seasons with 3+ points in his team's season opening game.
Who are the other 3?
Justin Williams of the Flyers, Kent Nilsson of the Flames in the
late 80s?
Late 70s, early 80s, and Cy Denny of the 1917 to 1919 Ottawa Senators.
That's not the same sport.
That's a different sport. Could they pass forward at that point? Because remember, hockey used to be only a pass back sport.
So you know how we're doing that whole centennial thing? All right, well, the first one. So, if we're counting things that happened,
can you write
post-nom?
Can you write an era-adjusted piece on that?
Yeah, they have era-adjusted numbers for back then.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Matthews versus Howie Meeker.
Oh, Howie Meeker's nowhere near far back enough. No, you got to put on your 19-2 voice. And Odie Cleghorn with the hat trick against the Montreal Maroons.
There's one player, they call it the greatest Stanley Cup of all time, and I think he was an Ottawa Senator, I'm pretty sure. Didn't he score like 10 goals and then go off to World War I? Like, it was like crazy. Yeah, there's a story about that. I'm sorry, I'm probably missing a detail there, but I read it and I was like, so he scored, and then he goes, and he's an officer in the Army, and he came back and played.
Yep. No big deal. No big deal.
Crazy. Man, our grandparents and our great-grandparents, different generation, man.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway, let's move on to the Oilers and Flames.
Yes.
Now, it's so great to have the Battle of Alberta back.
Oh.
It is just like, and it was back last year, but it is, you're talking about an offense-heavy Oilers team and a defense-heavy Flames team. And it's not to say the Flames don't have offense or that the Oilers don't have defense, but let's talk about their strengths, right?
But, the Flames are building their team to stop Connor McDavid.
Well, if you got to play him 5 times a year, 6 times a year, right?
You know what's great is the Leafs aren't in the same division as Connor McDavid.
We do have Jack Eichel, though.
There are, how many teams are in the division? 7? There's 6 teams trapped with that monster, that lunatic. Skates up to 40 kilometers an hour, coming in on the net.
So that was the second. So it was basically Connor McDavid 3, Flames nothing last night.
It literally was.
Yeah, because he had the hat trick. Yeah. Patrick Marleau, until that third goal, was leading the NHL in goals. Until freaking Connor McDavid.
18 minutes into the season, Bozak was leading the league. In scoring, he had a goal and an assist.
There you go.
Tyler Bozeman.
I just meant goals. But,
no, I know.
But I think Van Riemsdyk, Matthews, Connor McDavid, and maybe, is it Bozak had 3 points?
There might be someone from either the Penguins or
had
Blues,
3 points.
Because that was a high-scoring game, too.
So,
someone.
Wayne Simmons had a hat trick.
Oh,
last
right.
night?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good for him.
A friend of mine texted me this morning that she entered a hockey pool, and someone in their pool picked just Leafs. And they had 17 points last night.
Destroyed.
What a great start.
Yeah.
The thing is that in a pool, too, in that situation, if you jump out to an early lead, it's hard to lose it. It's hard for people to catch up.
Whoa, hey now. Oh, in a pool.
Yeah, in a
Sorry,
pool.
I thought you meant in a hockey game. I'm like,
No.
Do you have amnesia, Adam?
2 of McDavid's goals were unassisted. So it was the McDavid show.
I mean, it's to his benefit to just rush the puck up himself.
Yeah.
And that's not an insult to the Oilers. It's rushing the puck up himself allows him to get to his top speed, which is a speed no one can handle. He made Travis Hamonic look like, all right, everybody, does anyone play defense? And they just pulled him out of the stands. And that's like their new big addition.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, and Yager. Did Yager even play?
No, he's no, and
he's not ready
he probably won't be ready for a bit. He said, I gotta get into game shape. I gotta get into the systems. He's like, I'm not sure how my body's gonna react. It was interesting watching his press conference because he tempered a lot of expectations. You could tell they're jacked in Calgary to have him, but he did the Mike Babcock. Well, we gotta do, I gotta do this and this and this, and I'm like, wow, you sound like a wily vet. Which is what you are.
Justin Bourne had very, very, very good insight on Jaromir Jagr last night, and that is going to be my tease.
What were you doing last night?
I was doing puck talks at the Rec Room, which, if you live in Toronto or the GTA, is redonkulous. The Leon's next to Steam Whistle is now basically a giant Dave & Buster's style restaurant with crazy arcade games and a movie screen. It's owned by Cineplex. It's absolutely insane. And so I was on a panel with Carly Agro, Andy Petrillo, and Justin Bourne last night. And
those bums.
Those bums. We're hoping to get Justin Bourne on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to because he's now signed to do Mondays with Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
Yeah.
There's a few people from The Athletic we'd like to have back on, James and all the guys that have been on this show before. So
yeah. So I will let him give his Jagr insight, but I will just tease that it's very good.
He's got great stories.
It's very good.
Do you guys want to hear some things about the 1927 Stanley Cup Final?
Is this what it was?
I don't know, but this is very interesting because, first of all,
isn't that when Maple Leaf Garden was built?
I think it was built in 1931. It was built at the height of the Depression. They planned for it in the late 1920s when it was the Roaring 1920s, and then they crashed. Conn Smythe still built it.
So maybe this is when Conn Smythe built or bought the team. 27 is sticking out in my head.
He bought it in the 1920s and renamed it the Maple Leafs after his World War I regiment, right?
Yes, I think.
So
2 games.
Maple Leaf Regiment, yeah.
In the 1927 Stanley Cup Final between the Ottawa Senators and the Boston Bruins finished in ties. So,
that's great.
The Senators won the series 2-0-2. So
Boston didn't get a win.
Nope. They got 2 ties.
Imagine it would be 1-1 and 2. It's like an ultimate tie. So like you tie 2 games and you win and lose. So it's like a quadruple tie. We're just gonna split it in half. If you take that, I'll take this.
If there was Twitter back then, do you think Boston fans would be bragging about, well, we got 2 drawers? You got 2 what? DRAWRS drawers.
And the other fact I want to share from the 1927 Stanley Cup Final, after the game, Billy Catu assaulted referee Jeremy Laflamme.
I mean, assault isn't funny, but I guess 100 years later it sort of is.
Literally 100 years later.
I mean, at what point is assault funny? That's a joke, people. It's a joke.
No, I know.
Anyway, what?
There's so many Winston Churchill quotes that everyone's just like, ha ha ha. But like, if someone said that tomorrow, you'd be like, what the?
Who is this?
Fire them! Resign!
Coutu, I don't know if I'm saying that right. He was barred from the league for life. And Smith, who caused a bench clearing brawl, was given a 1-month suspension.
How vicious would it have had to have been to get a lifetime ban in the 20s?
Pretty bad. Yeah. Pretty freaking bad.
Maurice Richard broke his stick over like someone's head. Like that happened a lot, by the way.
They gave him a playoff ban.
Yeah, and then there was a riot. Because how unfair!
I think somebody in the Montreal Forum, when they banned him in the playoffs, when they came back, I believe somebody set off fireworks in the Montreal Forum.
Oh god!
And like they had to clear it out and everything. It was bad because they were. I mean, rightfully so. He's the best player in the league, and they just suspended him for the whole thing
because he almost killed him.
Hey, life is out. Hey. Life is out.
I like life. They fucked up. I give the middle to them, huh? Oh, I love Rob Mullins. R.I.P.
Yeah, so, man, okay, so can you look up the 10-goal Stanley Cup performance? Because I would like to know that.
Okay.
Penguins, St. Louis.
Yes, I have not got to watch this.
Well, it was a 5-4 St. Louis victory. Pietrangelo in the overtime.
Or shoot it.
I don't know.
Whatever,
no, it was overtime. It was a goal.
It was overtime, yeah.
Yeah, because it was a goal. But Pietrangelo had 2 goals last night. And, you know, I have to say, not much to deduce as it is. It's just one game. But again, with I want to look at some of the names that St. Louis had scoring for them. Are you ready?
Okay.
Braden Shen.
5th overall pick.
Who is now in St. Louis.
Forgot about that.
Right?
That was, I tweeted when that trade happened. I go, oh my God, like, how is Braden Shen worth that much? Because I think it was like 2 firsts or something like that. And then I saw Yori Laterra's contract and I went, oh. Boy, is it bad.
It's bad.
Very bad.
Braden Shen, and then Colton Parayko, and then Pietrangelo, and then Stastny, and then Pietrangelo again. Guys that you need to score for you. Getting it done.
And some help from the defense.
Absolutely, and that's going to be St. Louis's strong point is their defense. They are just so good.
The answer to my question about Calgary earlier, maybe St. Louis.
Yeah,
very
true.
Good.
Justin Schultz, Olli Mata, Crosby. It's good for Olli Mata to get that goal out of the way. For some reason, he went from like upcoming hero to 0 in Pittsburgh.
Well, a lot of health issues, and you know.
So is he not going to be a great defenseman? Is he too slow?
Penguins fans would tell you he's okay. He's okay. I think he'll get better as the season goes on. He needs to play a full year.
Right. Okay.
Or a couple full years.
Crosby, of course, because it's Crosby.
Yes.
From Malkin and Jake Gensel, and then Connor Sheary as well. From one Greg McKegg. Now, Greg McKegg, I just thought I'd throw this out there, was trending in Pittsburgh last night.
He's their 3rd line center.
But apparently you did a great job.
All right.
They're very happy with him. And
I didn't think that guy was ever going to be a full-time NHLer.
Greg McKegg, if you don't remember, was the guy the Leafs traded for Zach Hyman to Florida, who then gave him up for nothing.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And also, I remember Steve used to do a podcast before this podcast years ago with U of T with Justin.
Yeah.
And Justin Fisher, at the Justin Fisher on Twitter, said, I think in the second round, you guys did a pre-draft show. He said, I think in the second round they're going to go with Greg McKegg. And he nailed it.
And he also nailed the Leafs trading up to, he specifically said the Leafs are going to trade up to draft Brad Ross.
And they did.
Unfortunately, it didn't pan out, but he nailed it.
And the Flyers beat the Sharks 5-3 as well. Giroux, Jordan Wheel scored. Wayne Simmons had a hat trick. And it's nice to see Wayne Simmons get that empty netter at the end.
Jordan Wheel.
Could
have been a Golden Knight. Or a Leaf.
Yep.
Yeah. But I guess the Flyers are happy they kept him, and holy smokes, the Wayne train. Chugga.
Well, yeah, and Shane Gostisbehere with 2 assists there. I mean, that's
He had a
honestly,
brutal season.
He did, and
Yeah.
Voracek with a couple assists. I mean, these are the guys you need to come through for you.
Flyers are a little scary. Did Nolan Patrick get anything?
Not from what I can see, no.
Okay.
But he made. I remember I read an article in June, and it was Nolan. He was a Wheat King, right?
Yes, Brandon Weeking.
So the coach of the general manager said, "Listen, Nolan Patrick is not ready for the NHL yet." He said, "But what you're getting is a guy that will be incredible and have a great, 15, 20-year career, but he needs a year." And the fact that he came in,
he had a similar injury to Morgan Riley, I think,
was the
when he
hernia?
was in junior.
Not hernia. Hernia?
No,
Knee?
I don't remember, but basically he missed. Similar to Morgan Riley's injury in that he missed most of his draft year, but came in with all this, all these accolades, right? So that is what I think he meant by he's not ready. He's not very good right now.
No, and he didn't say it wasn't a bad thing. He said, I just think he needs more time. But I think it's pretty cool that he made the Philadelphia Flyers, and I also don't.
He's going to be
don't sleep on the Flyers or the Carolina Hurricanes, man. They are both teams. They're not easy anymore.
Both those guys are in the Metro
Philly
division.
Thank God.
You know the Monster division? Yeah, it's got 2 more monsters. Every team is a monster except for the Devils. Well, Islanders. I don't know. Maybe. They're interesting. We'll see.
So Jack Eichel and Nikolai Ehlers both signed their extensions yesterday. So Jack Eichel has the most to compare with a Connor McDavid in terms of contract. Well, no. I mean,
yeah.
and might be a precursor to what Austin Matthews commands or measures himself against. And I'm not saying like I'm sure everybody. I think the measuring stick is Connor McDavid, but when we're talking about elite players, all 3 of them are.
If you're Austin Matthews and you head into your next, your first real contract negotiation, you're comparing yourself to Jack Eichel and not Connor McDavid. You know why? You scored more points than Jack Eichel,
right?
And way more goals than Jack Eichel. Like you want to talk about, I'll take that bet on Jack Eichel. I think he's going to be sick, but he has a career high of 24 goals. Like even if he were healthy, it's like a 30-goal pace. Mm-hmm. Good, very good. But like a 30-goal, 70-point pace.
Somewhere
I'm
Tim
Austin
Murray's
Matthews.
crying.
I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that.
I've
done it. Yeah, so give me my 10, at least. Maybe even 11. Because if I go using McDavid as my benchmark, what's he getting, 12.5? Man, he scored 31 more points than Matthews last year. Think of how good Austin Matthews was last year. There was a player in the league who scored 31 more points.
Yeah.
McDavid's not fair. Like, if you got him in your pool, congrats. You win. You probably didn't even pick that good of a team. It doesn't matter. You got a guy who's going to win the scoring title by, minimum 15 points.
But he sure is exciting to watch.
Oh, my
man, he's great.
God. I'm trying to think of the last player who there was no answer for. Crosby, we agree Crosby's the best. But, there are strategies. They don't often work, but there are strategies. How do you compete?
Nazem Kadri.
Yeah,
because he shut him down in that one game, and we made a big deal of it.
Which no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Got caved in 5-on-5, Corsi, all that crap. Just Kadri got 2 goals, and he was front and center with McDavid on that one play. But there's no answer for that speed. There's none. And
Jesse,
no one has hands that can keep up.
What was it that you said to me? Because Sportsnet did a graphic about this, but what did you say about his speed on the second goal?
So his speed, I believe, was 44.1 kilometers per hour, which means that he wasn't legally allowed to travel in a school zone when he scored his second goal.
Yeah, it's speeding.
I want you to think about that.
26 miles an hour, something like that.
So here's what I want you to do.
The American listeners, yeah.
If it's possible, and the American listeners have kilometers on their dash.
Literally no one else in the world.
Dick in Liberia, I think. It's like the States and Liberia.
Yeah. But they're sticking to that system.
But inches, you guys.
Inches, man. It's way better.
What was Connor McDavid's speed in Fahrenheit? I'm so tired. I'm punchy.
I want you to look at even if you're an American listening and you have a car, you have kilometers on your dashboard. It's just it's the smaller one. I want you to have someone drive you down the street. Okay? If it's legal, where it's legal, I want you to go 40 kilometers an hour or whatever it is, miles per hour, which I think is what, 24?
And stick your hands out the window and stick handle.
It's such a ridiculous comparison.
Just stick your head out the window and feel what that feels like, and imagine trying to plan moves, avoid human beings, and shift your own body weight back and forth.
And then he came to a complete stop after he shot the puck in front of the goal.
Imagine how much force on his knee joints it takes to stop on a dime like that. Imagine what
that was the most impressive part.
Like, what is it? What kind of leg power does that take? Because from playing hockey, you know,
calves, feet,
and your thighs. Yep. When you stop,
Everything.
You're swinging your whole body.
Everything.
Crazy.
Absolutely. It's. I wonder, like, if he's just one of those freak athletes, whether it's genetic or whether it's, when did they like start putting him in hockey school? Like age of 3, something like that. Because his dad's like a OHL team owner. Yeah, Jesse's got the clip right here. This is again, rush it, because it's never not the right decision to rush it if you're Connor McDavid. How does he stop on a dime like that? Because it wasn't he got to his top. It wasn't like an Olympic race where he gets to his top speed and then slows down a bit. His top speed was at the very end when he made his move.
Right.
There's no answer for that. That's the best player in hockey.
Something you should look at too, if you get the chance to relook at this clip.
Oh, and the puck is on its side.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Look at that! Look at that!
Oh, it's rolling. Not that matters for him. Wow.
It doesn't seem believable.
Here's what I want you to look at though.
And you see Mike Smith go, oh, nuts.
Look at Mike Smith's chest after a Connor McDavid stop. So after the goal goes in, just look at his chest. Look at how much snow is on that jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Look at how much snow. The sea is almost white. The Calgary Red Sea is almost white with snow. There's a divot in the ice there.
Absolutely unbelievable.
That's crazy.
See, I don't know exactly how Connor McDavid's built.
That's Hamonic and Brody, by the way, on defense too.
Oh, I know. But if McDavid ever decided, it's like Marner threw like a surprising hit that led to a scoring chance last year, and everyone's like, how the hell did Mitch Marner do that? Centrifugal force, my friend. Speed. McDavid's not the biggest guy, but if he comes at you with that kind of speed and he's not charging, granted, he's going to flatten you. Like, I don't want to touch Dustin Byfuglien, but Byfuglien can't do that.
No, he doesn't have the mobility to do that.
Matt Martin can't do that. I'm only picking on Matt Martin because we're talking about like big tough guys you don't want to mess with.
So we wanted
extension.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about Jack Eichel.
Sorry.
So Jack Eichel, $10 million, 8 years. I think that's a pretty solid bet.
Yes, but it is just that, a bet. It is.
Now, why do you say that? Why do you say it's just a bet? Why don't you say that's a solid deal and that's what he deserves?
It is a solid deal, and it is what he deserves, and it's a bet. You know,
why is it a bet?
He had a great rookie year. No one's taking that away from him. He had a great season last year after coming back from injury. No one's taking that away from him. But when it comes to that kind of money, that kind of generational wealth, I'm Connor McDavid. I'm a 100 point scorer. You know how you know that? Here's 100 points that I scored. Jack Eichel, you're buying theoretical points. I think he's going to score those theoretical points. If you drafted him in fantasy, congratulations. You got a guy who might score 80, 90 points this season. Mm-hmm. But he hasn't done it. What's his career high, 64?
So what would be Buffalo's motivation to get him locked down now? Because again, they have till next summer to really worry about it. I would worry about Jack. I would worry about Jack Eichel being offer sheeted. I really would worry about that because that to me is worth it.
Yeah,
Why
course,
not?
But I don't think it would happen. I wonder. Yeah, I guess it's one more thing you don't even have in the back of your mind. You can go forward and plan your team, like you're financially. You understand the roadblocks, the $10 million roadblock that's going to be in your way. I can't imagine the worry is he's going to score 100 points and be able to command more than 10.
That's what I wondered. Is it that they were worried that that's an acceptable price now and we better get it while we can because who knows what this guy's going to do?
I guess. I guess.
And then the other thing is, if you look at Buffalo's cap friendly, how much is Kyle Okposo making? How much is Ryan O'Reilly making?
7+.
So you've got Ryan.
lot.
You've got in your first two centers, you've got $17.5 million wrapped up in your first two centers.
You know what, though? If you're going to wrap up $17.5 million,
Pretty good centers to do it.
There's a worse duo you could have. Pretty good, but boy, is it a lot of money. Yeah. I don't know, that's the direction it's going in. The contract that's most interesting to me is Ehlers. Because if you... everyone seems to think, Nylander's getting more than seven. Not necessarily, man. Just because the Oilers signed Leon Draisaitl to a ridiculous contract. That contract
I don't think they wanted to, by the way. I think...
It looks more silly with each passing day.
Had that Connor McDavid contract not leaked, I think that leaking cost the Oilers like $20 million.
Yep. Yeah. That's an interesting way to look at it.
Because I think that they had him in the 7 to 8 range.
You can't tell me
And I bet he was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, you can't tell me Draisaitl is that much better than Ehlers. Pasternak is a big one. There was another one signed recently who is a really good comparable for Nylander, and I'm trying to remember who. Nylander, I would hope, will get in the neighborhood of 6.5. If you get 70+,
It's gonna be
that
7.
number's going to start with at least 7.
Still, there'll be more than enough to go around.
Yeah, when we know Matthews is going to get the sun and the moon because he deserves it. The guy where there's a little bit more of a question mark is Nylander, and
Marner too.
And Marner too, yeah. So as these comparables start to get signed, I think you have a more clear picture of what the Leafs are going to look like. We know Matthews is getting 10 or 11. We know that. Good. Give it to him, for the love of God. It's the other two that I'm more worried about.
I wouldn't be worried. I think they're going to be fine.
With every contract that gets signed, I'm less worried. When Draisaitl got signed, I was worried. And then dink. Go down
And
the
again,
line.
I think I look at it and like, I go, okay, are we, if the Leafs spend that much money on high-end / elite skill, that's great. At least we're not spending our money on mid-range, might get you 20 goals for $5 million skill.
Alexander Moginley. That's who we should be spending. Moginley.
That was a contract that was worth it. I think he scored 40 goals in his first year. McGillney was great here.
Yeah, it's not the best comparison for bad Leafs.
McGillney was amazing here. Yeah.
I mean, Clarkson.
Oh, man.
Lucic might be one. That is going to be interesting to see. Here, I'm looking up McGillney with the Leafs. First season 24, next season 33, and then the next season.
When did we sign him though?
Huh? Well, he was already 10, 15 years into the league at that point.
Asterisk, Jesse. No cap.
Nah.
Yeah, back
Who cares?
then. Yeah, they only. I think they paid him like $4 million a year or something like that, which was pretty big for the time.
I think it was more than that.
Was it?
Dude, Sundin was making like $9 million.
Wow.
I know.
Times, man.
I know.
Do you want some old man hockey stats?
Yes, please.
So I was trying to find your Stanley Cup final guy.
Right.
And 3 guys scored 9 goals in a Stanley Cup final. Cyclone Taylor in 1918, Frank Foyston in 1919, and Babe Dye in 1922.
What a name. Babe Dye. Steve, what are you looking at?
Here's some...
What's the matter? Some breaking?
No, I got a text from someone who said, instead of worrying about traffic, you should ride a bike. And I'm like, did I tweet that I was in traffic?
Yeah. You said traffic held up the show.
Oh, I did. Okay. I was like, are we live? What the? Sorry, I was very confused.
Hey, guys. Now you know what Steve's text said. So
I said never mind. Guys are dicks. Terrible friends.
Babe Dye.
Babe Dye is such a great 20s name.
Babe Dye.
Dye.
Babe Dye. We got on the board early last night.
His full name was Cecil Henry Babe Dye. Because of course.
Of course it was.
He played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, actually, in the New York Americans. And then he also played professional baseball and played football with the Argonauts.
An athlete.
Wow.
So there you go.
Good for him.
Cyclone Taylor. I don't know much about him, but he is a Canadian professional hockey player.
Cyclone Taylor.
It's a good name.
Absolutely.
Frank Foyston. He was a player coach for the Detroit Olympics when Canada went there in 1928.
Player coach.
There's some old man facts.
That's so great.
I love it.
Man, the
20s hockey.
20s.
The ticketies.
I assume they were all drunk when they scored their 9 goals.
Oh my God.
And
you
he
know,
did in 5 games.
Johnson, your problem is you're not nearly drunk enough.
Ehlers, did the deal? To me, that deal struck me as fair.
Yes, which is why I'm happy.
It's good. Yeah.
Right? I think it's like the whole Nylander's not going to negotiate his contract with the Leafs throughout the season. Yeah, that's advantageous to Nylander. What if he plays all season with Matthews, goes out there, puts up 70-plus points? He can go into his next contract and be like, I can ask for more than Ehlers.
Yeah, for sure.
I still love Pasternak for signing the deal that he did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it doesn't make any sense for Nylander to sign an early deal.
No. Why would you?
Why?
Jaromir Jagr's bonuses in Calgary, according to Elliot Friedman, involved games played thresholds with one minor exception. There is a 2-parter that is not triggered unless Calgary makes the playoffs. So he said, I'm not 100% certain as I write this, but he needs either 50 or 60 appearances plus the postseason to get one particular bonus. So it's a $1 million contract with a $1 million bonus.
I've probably talked about Jason Allison before, right? And his
yes, you have many
very
times.
expensive punch.
Yes. Yeah, he was 1 point away from getting $1 million bonus.
One game away. It was a games played bonus. He made $1.5 million. I'll just tell it again. $1.5 million. His bonus was $1 million if he played in 64 games. Game 63, gets into a fight, breaks his hand. I was talking about that again with Justin Bourne yesterday. I'd be like, it's fine. Like, just tuck his hand behind his back. It's fine. Yeah, put me out there, coach. Like,
yeah,
seriously, I wouldn't.
It out.
For $1 million? Yeah.
I'd just show up to the rink wearing my gloves.
Yeah. Yeah, don't tell him. Don't tell him. Jesse, you brought forth a piece of audio. Remember the Pythagoras guy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
So this is
I've avoided this.
This is a guy that was ranting about football and advanced stats, and he said the Giants, they just suck. They have no offensive line. That's what. And you think Steve? If you haven't seen this rant, you would think Steve's making fun of him. That's what he actually ranted. He said in the rant. That was the actual rant. So here he is on the Yes Network, and I don't know what's this man's name.
Oh God.
Pythagoras.
Doesn't matter.
It
does matter.
Don La Greca.
Okay.
Don La Greca.
If you watch Don on the Yes Network, tweet us. I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Just because he seems like a character.
Yeah, he's one half of the Michael K. show.
Every time I'm in the States watching TV, I feel like I'm watching Rick and Morty alternate reality TV. I'm like, what planet is this?
So
no one talks like this.
This has to do with the Brooklyn Nets, who are awful, and their draft pick situation is horror awful. I'm not sure if you know this, but
aren't they shitty and have no picks?
Yeah. They traded all their picks to the Celtics, and they're not lottery protected, and they're the worst team. So the Celtics keep getting like first overall picks, and they keep trading them. I don't know why they don't just draft.
Are they going to dig up stupid like the Leafs did when they got rid of the Lindros pick?
I don't know. Man. God. It's bad. Anyway, you ready?
Yes.
I just want to throw out there, listen to, when he goes to his hotline, the things that he has to say just to get to a caller, because they've sponsored the hotline.
Oh,
so listen
no.
It's like NASCAR. Literally everything has a sponsor.
The Taco Bell, McDonald's hotline. It's like, it is. Listen to this.
This is somebody that's really angry. Tri-State Buick GMC listener, Brian in Manhattan.
Did you hear that?
Tri-State
Brian in Manhattan.
You know what?
Ford dealers are buying.
I would not pay for that if I am the guy wanting to put my sponsorship on there. He doesn't even say the name properly.
Here's several $1,000s, millions of dollars. Can you please say our company name, but do it like an auctioneer?
This is somebody that's really angry. Tri-State Buick GMC listener, Brian in Manhattan. Brian, why are you so happy today?
Oh, I'm so happy. You don't understand, Mr. K. First of all, I'm sick that you're not going to be doing the Yankees.
I'm sick, too. I dated this girl all year. No, now someone else is sleeping with her. I hate it.
Taking her to the prom. It's unreal.
Thank you. But it what really, it kind of makes me a little happy is that Don's Mets and his Giants, his football and his baseball season are over. And it brings me such knockers that
but Brian, I don't care.
You don't understand.
All right.
So for context, the Giants are 0-4. So the call is called in to taunt and be like, hey, your team's
And the Mets
sucks.
are the freaking Mets.
And then
right?
the Mets didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they're terrible.
So Don has said 4 words. Brian, I don't care.
Brian.
I can already tell. He cares.
Football and his baseball season are over.
Yeah.
And it brings me such knockers that
But Brian, I don't care.
you don't understand.
But I don't care.
Hold on, but Brian, why
Definitely
though?
doesn't
I don't care.
Don's not a guy who like
Well-
really does anything annoying as a fan.
It doesn't
He annoys
bother
Brian.
me.
He annoys Brian.
But Brian, what is it?
Actually, Peter Slopopotamus, what it is that I don't.
Well, you're a bad guy.
Him and Rothenberg are. I mean, they make comments about the Yankees, about how they watch Yankee games, so they lose. How they just.
That is
they're just
not.
leaders.
I've been here 2 years and never heard Don say that once. But real quick, who's your football team?
Please, well, you know
Brian,
what,
who's your
Peter,
football team? Brian.
I don't watch football. I'm
Oh,
not
man,
into
you know
football.
what? You're a fraud.
Yes, you do, and you have a team that stinks,
If you're
and you don't want to say
if you're a
it.
Yankee
Who
fan,
doesn't have
Brian,
a football
you're
team and is
probably
an
a Giant
American?
fan.
Yeah.
No, I am a Oakland Raider fan.
You didn't have a
Raiders
team,
fan.
But you do
and now
have a
you
team.
have a team.
And a team that's lost 2 straight and is in peril.
Oh, you have no guts.
Peter,
you are
Peter
so gutless.
Wait, the Raiders, isn't that the team that my team utterly embarrassed last week?
Peter, yeah,
Didn't
you know
we destroy?
why, right?
Didn't you have 78
You know
total
why, right?
yards in the 4th quarter?
Brian,
Am
I
I
don't like the
allowed
way
to?
they're treating you, Brian. I don't like it.
No, but
Am I allowed
listen.
to make a
I
point?
respect the because you know what I love about the Raiders is that they got names for their games. You know, the Sea of Hands game, the Holy Roller game. Like they were
Tuck
great
roll.
back in the day. But the thing, Brian, you're gutless. You said you didn't have a football team, and then you told us because you're gutless.
Gutlers.
Oh my God, this is great.
you know
for
why?
all the
Because
years
one
you've been
time-
calling
because-
and killing me, you were on the air and showed zero guts, Brian. How awesome is that? Because I might be a Met fan and a Giant fan, but I'm not gutless. I'll come on the
Season
air and I'll tell you how I
over.
feel, but you have no
Season over.
guts.
It's
Yes. I don't have a football team, but you do have a football. Oh my God, you're so weak. I can't believe it. I'm actually jumping up and down.
I don't watch football.
I'm giddy, baby. I'm giddy because you're a clown show. You're a show. I win. We've been going at it for years, Brian, and I finally win. I win. I need to dunk
There's a
something.
reason why.
I gotta dunk
There's a
something.
reason.
Woo! Yeah!
He's out of his chair and running around the studio. You
He's
actually
carrying the
have to
chair.
see
You have
this.
to watch the video.
He's wearing a chair on his head now, Brian. That's what you do. Oh, he's throwing chairs.
That chair's broken for sure.
Yeah.
Winner, chicken dinner. Winner, chicken dinner. Winner, chicken dinner. Clown.
No. You're
Show.
still a loser.
Clown.
Still a loser.
Show.
You're a Mets
Say it
fan.
with me, Mike.
Clown
Show.
show. Clown show. Clown show. Clown show. Clown show.
Brian, it's a clown show.
Brian, I got your back, my friend. Brian, I got your
Adam, can you
back.
pause it?
But there's a reason.
Wow, there is a lot of footage left.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It keeps going.
Just looking at the bar.
Yeah.
A conversation that I often have within my own head and with others is how old will I be by the time yelling and screaming at a camera in a room full of toys is weird?
I think that's your thing.
How much money do you think Don LaGreca makes?
More than
A
you.
lot.
No offense, but
No,
More than any of us.
None taken. Are we talking
Probably-
6 digits, Adam?
oh, without question, I think multiple 6 digits.
You think 7 digits? Maybe.
I mean, he's in New York, but they're covering the Mets and the Nets and I think they're the. I mean, it is. Listen,
Does his
it's
paycheck
Yes
start,
Network.
start with at least a 5?
Oh yeah, I would think so. But I think the guy
Get
who
used to me yelling and screaming, everybody, because I'm in it to win it. I'm gonna make it. Clown show, clown show, clown show.
What I can't get over is how cheesy they are.
Oh my
Like
God.
if you're gonna win, like I mean, I get being excited, but like man,
I I mean, okay, if I listened to the show every single day and that guy calls in and he's like, "Oh, you guys, you shitty teams," and it turns out he cheers for a perennially shitty team. Yeah, I guess it's kind of funny.
And also the Raiders, who are supposed to be good this year.
Oh, Don's got him! I want to know who the listeners are who are like, Don's got him! Like Butters watching Cartman debate Wendy Testaberger. Oh, he's got her now! Hey, whatever gets you through the day, man.
Wow.
I'm gonna hate on you.
He turns several shades of purple in that rant, too. Like, he gets...
Oh, yeah.
There's some blood flowing.
Clown Show. What's the name of their show? Clown Show?
No, the Michael K.
Show.
Yeah, I would think Michael K's up in the millions.
Who's Michael K?
The guy who's the show's name's after?
No, but well, which one of those guys?
The middle guy. He's in the power chair, don't you know?
Is Don LaGreca the stunt boy?
I think he's just the co-host. He's like, a lot of times you have a guy who is like a straight ahead host who is knowledgeable and whatever, and then you got a guy who's like adds a little color.
Are they just doing their best and trying to have a fun segment? And
I think so. Oh, I think it was fun. Oh, I had fun. Did you not have fun?
Oh, I had fun.
I had a great time.
Winner,
Chicken dinner.
Clown Show.
I mean, I think with that one, I'm laughing with them. I wasn't laughing at them. I think I was laughing at him with the advanced stats thing. That was funny.
Oh, yes, 100% laughing at him. No, I think I'm laughing. I'm laughing at Don. Point Don LaGreca.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes when you get one over on a guy who's been giving it to you for years, it feels good.
And you slam chairs and chant Clown Show.
Yeah. But I guarantee you, the guy that he eviscerated on the air there, and he didn't really eviscerate. Brian the caller, Brian from wherever.
Brian from New York.
Brian from New York will be a forever listener because of that segment. Like, Brian is immortalized, and he will never not listen to that show.
But he's gutless, Adam.
You need to go.
He sort of is gutless. I mean, they are right.
They're not wrong. They nailed him. Go on. I think it's on Netflix. Look up Big Fan. The star is Patton Oswalt. If you're into sports and particularly sports radio, fantastic movie.
Is that where he calls in a lot?
He calls in a lot. He writes out all the stuff. He's a parking attendant, so all he does is listen to sports radio. And then the story gets dark and crazy, and I don't want to spoil it for you. Really good movie. Really good movie. And I think Brian will be as dedicated as Patton Oswalt is in that movie.
Shall we do a press conference?
The presser.
Been a while.
Finally, the Earth was telling us not to do one.
In an effort to improve overall safety for both competitors and spectators, NHL officials issued a warning Friday to remind hockey fans that banging on the glass scares the players.
Wait, I thought that was a beaver.
Isn't that the zoo?
Fans attending games should refrain from pounding on the glass.
Is that?
It's very disorienting and gravitating for hockey.
That's a Beaverton article, right?
It's gotta be.
It's from The Onion.
Oh, The Onion. Okay. Ooh.
Scares the players.
Beaverton, by the way, is a Canadian Onion.
Yeah.
Wow. I was like, please tell me. Please. I believe it.
I would believe
You
it.
could tell me a lot of things about the NHL. I'd be like, yeah. I believe that. I get it. All skates are made of rubber? No, I get it.
Yeah, sure.
It. Sure.
Absolutely.
Well, hope the Leafs are still good.
Producer Jesse, have we got any questions?
Outspan asked something interesting.
Outspan.
Since the league seems determined to modify rules to raise scoring, what do you think of making it illegal for defending teams to make a hand pass in their own end?
Isn't that illegal already?
No.
What do they mean?
Not.
So the defenseman whacks it out of the air with his hand, and his teammate picks it up on his stick?
Yeah.
I thought that was already illegal.
No, apparently not.
I thought the play was blown dead. Does he mean make that a penalty?
Not a penalty, but I think the same stoppage of play you get with a high stick or a hand pass anywhere else on the ice would be a good starting point.
How many more goals a year are we going to get from that? Like, I don't know. This is the thing that... Don't you love this sport? Don't you love it? Leave it alone. Like, unless you're going to make a major change that's actually going to make a difference. Like, I'm getting tired of all this. Like, calling slashing as it's supposed to be called, I get. Calling the face-off rule is annoying, but I get it. Calling Komarov for his visor thing is annoying, but I get it. Telling Eric Fehr to untuck his jersey or Connor Brown to untuck his jersey is annoying, but I get it. Like, at what point? Like, there's as much scoring as there is. Unless you're going to make a major change like they did in 05-06, that's not going to solve your problem. In a league where every team scores, like 260-ish goals? Oh, great. Now they all score 262. because you got rid of that stupid hand rule. Like,
Percentages, brah.
yeah. Gives a damn.
When is Josh Levo going on waivers? There are at least 3 Marlies ahead of him on the depth chart. And if you don't want to get rid of him, if you don't want him, get rid of him like Marincin.
I disagree.
I disagree too.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I don't think there are 3 Marlies that are ahead of him on the depth chart necessarily. There are guys who I expect to be better down the line. Bracco, but he's not ahead of him right now. Kapanen, yeah, you can argue that. Kapanen's ahead of him.
Sosh isn't, I don't think.
Sosh isn't.
I think Sosh was in the lineup. People are going to say, well, he was in the lineup last year. Well, I think Sosh was in the lineup last year because Sosh plays a role. And if you look at the way the Leafs build their team, they build the Marlies the same way. If you are a third-line right winger and you play that role, then that's what you're going to play in the NHL too.
I think if Nikita Soshnikov plays an NHL game before... I think if Nikita Soshnikov plays an NHL game in 2017, it's a mistake. If he comes back second half of the season, great. But like this guy, like he needs to get some consistency under him. Ever since he got to North America, it's just been injury after injury after injury, and he comes back too early, and it's nagging him. And he's got post-concussion syndrome. And what?
He couldn't fly to Russia all summer.
Couldn't fly to Russia all summer. Preseason comes, there he is in the games. Like Sosh needs to play some healthy hockey in the American League for a while. I don't think the Leafs are going to put Levo on waivers. I don't think they're going to go from asking too much for him, like Chris Johnson said on the show, to getting rid of him for free. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think you got to look at it like, what are the benefits to losing a guy like that? Unless you get the price, whatever the exorbitant amount that they were asking, unless you get that. I mean, you got a player who
you got a conditional 6 for Peter Holland.
He
get something.
He got what is it, 10 points in 13 games last year when he played.
Yep.
So that's significant. And you have to remember that last year, and we keep saying this, but the Leafs did not have a major injury last year. Not one. One of those wingers goes down in that scoring position, and that, especially in that top 9. One of those guys.
Levo was literally waiting for one of 8 guys to get hurt, and last year no one did.
Right. Yeah. And you know, and you'd think, maybe at that point Connor Brown moves up, Levo goes under the 4th or whatever it is.
Yes. No. Yeah,
but how not rare is it to have a couple wingers go down over the course of the year?
One of Marner, JVR, Connor Brown, Leo Komarov, Zach Hyman. I mean, Jesus, the way Zach Hyman's played the last couple preseason and regular season games.
He might need a break.
I think he might be volunteering. Levo's going to get in, and he's going to play well because he's a good player.
And he played really well in the preseason.
Yeah,
he had a great camp.
He's not going to go on waivers.
Yeah.
He's not, in 9 out of 10 seasons, Levo plays much more than 13 games last year. And also, he started last year hurt.
Yes.
He wasn't prisoner the entire time like Corrado. So, I disagree with you on the depth chart thing, and I disagree that he's going to go on waivers.
Who is your Stanley Cup final prediction?
Yeah, I got to change.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Because my last pick on this show was in like June, and I said the Ducks. I've changed that.
What is it now?
They're going to stumble out of the gate because of their injuries. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
1 game into the season.
Yep.
My bold prediction for this month.
Tampa versus the McOilers.
I was going to say this exact same thing. So in the interests of saying something different,
okay.
I am going to say...
Well, okay, so your official pick, though, is that Tampa versus the Oilers?
You know what?
Because people have been keeping track of this.
Yeah, you can say the same thing if you want, if that's what you think.
It's so hard to think
You can give a secondary pick. I'm just not going to give you credit for it if it's right.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, Tampa Oilers would be the right... But I also think Tampa Nashville is very possible.
See,
Nashville needs a centerman, though.
Is in a very tough division, and they're without Ryan Ellis for a few months. They might not make the playoffs. If they do make the playoffs, they're a contender. And they might not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Ducks too. Like, it's crazy. It's totally crazy. Like, Western Conference Final could easily be Ducks Preds again. Neither. It's possible both might miss the playoffs.
Producer Jesse.
The correct answer is Toronto versus Edmonton.
I hope that happens. Genuinely hope.
How far-fetched is that?
It's the correct answer.
I think it would be... it's not far-fetched. I do think it improbable this year. And I think...
The Metro gets jumbled. Like, the correct answer is one of 5 Metro teams. but let's go with Tampa or Toronto because they stick out more.
I do think Tampa's the best overall team in the conference, period. That's just my thought. It doesn't mean that they would beat Pittsburgh. It doesn't mean that they would beat Washington, although I do think they would beat Washington. I think it would be a slugfest with Pittsburgh.
Boy, Pittsburgh's bottom 6.
What if, with no pressure, this is Washington's year?
I wonder about that too. I mean, how much worse did they get?
They won the President's Trophy by a country mile.
And you would have done it without Kevin Shattenkirk, and then you lose Carl Olsner and Nate Schmidt. But who was kind of a 6-7 guy, really. Yeah. I mean, he didn't even make it into the second game of the playoffs with the Leafs.
Vrana gets in. Jew.
You've got Burkowski. You've got
I don't know how to say it. DJOOS. Jew.
Yeah.
Jew. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think they're. I really don't see how they got worse.
Mm-hmm. They got worse, but like they still got like one of the best goalies in the league, a very, very good tandem, one of the best snipers in the league, one of the best playmakers in the league. Kuznetsov was not mentioned within.
And the best team rarely wins the Stanley Cup.
Oshie, yep, 100%.
And that's and they did lose Justin Williams as well, which hurts a little.
Justin Williams locked up Oshie to a good deal. We'll see what the kids do. Speaking of which, shout out Australia. Nathan Walker is about to become the first ever Australian-born player to play in the National Hockey League.
That's awesome. Wow. Somewhere Saskia Stewart is throwing a party, I think.
Oh, she tweeted like she's crying.
That's cool. That's very cool.
It is very cool. If I remember the story about him correctly, he left Australia at the age of 14 to play pro hockey in the Czech Republic and worked his way up. I think he signed a deal with the Caps AHL team. They actually drafted him with a 5th rounder. He's fought for a couple years now. He's in the show. Welcome to the show, kid. That's pretty crazy.
Any more questions?
Nope.
Okay, I have an announcement. And this is a podcasting news announcement, and this is sad. Jeff Merrick tweeted today, unfortunately, due to circumstances out of our control, Greg Wyshynski and I will not be able to continue our podcast.
No.
Wait, what happened?
Merrick versus Wyshynski's last episode will be next week.
No.
According to Jeff, he said, we're planning a final pod sometime next week where we can provide more details, but right now we just want to thank everyone for listening. This was a goofy hockey podcast Greg and I decided on midway through a phone call in the summer of 2011. I've never had more fun on a show than I did working with Greg on the pod, and I'm really thankful at how many friends I made because of it. Neither Greg nor I are looking at this as any kind of final goodbye. We'll still try to find other ways to work together on other projects, so thank you to everyone who downloaded, streamed, tweeted, played along. You gave us 6 years of great times. What a shame.
Years.
What a shame.
That's.
I mean, they're
when
all
it comes to hockey podcasts, at very least, that's run and done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bummer.
Okay, so Jeff you're going to be able to listen to him. He's going to be on for several hours every Saturday night on the radio with John Shannon. He's got a new national show coming. So that'll be available nationally in Canada, and I think I saw him tweet that you'll be able to stream it as well. Nick Alberga, formerly of the NHL Network, and Rory Boylan, who's been plugging away at Sportsnet for a long time, got the opportunity to do the second half of that show. I guess it's going to be the western half of that show. But, man. And has Greg announced why he left Yahoo Sports?
No, he hasn't.
He's leaving Puck Daddy. Puck Daddy is leaving Puck Daddy. I know it's not his actual name. Shut up.
Is it?
That's... Yeah.
Not on his license,
it's on his license. Like, that's a seismic shift in, like, the online hockey world.
Yeah, it is. And it's a shame. I mean, I hope they work together on whatever it is they're working on next. If they work on projects together, that's great. But man, what an influence! Great guys, genuine. Like, you know, we've had the luck to have them both on, and they're just genuinely good people too. And that's kind of, to me, that just makes a great show even better. And it's too bad that it's happening, but it may just be scheduling. It may be whatever Greg's doing. Jeff can't work with him.
But I know nothing.
Yeah, we don't know anything, but it's probably something along the lines of conflicting other corporations or something. So a shame, but both wickedly talented on their own, and at least we still have them. And of course, Greg's got his podcast with Dave Lozo for Puck Soup, and that will continue. So that's great.
Yeah, Merrick was like one of the first ever mainstream guys to. I'm like eulogizing them, but like they're still around. Merrick was one of the first, probably the first mainstream guy to really give me a shot. Recommended me to a producer at Hockey Night in Canada that I be part of the 2009 playoff preview show. And they had me do a video. I stayed up all night, and that was the first time Ron McLean said my name. And then he said it again this past season, which was nuts. But I think where Jeff might have discovered me was on Puck Daddy, because it was like in 2007, maybe even 2008, in my first or second season. I got a bunch of messages, not even tweets, I got messages on my YouTube channel. It was a thing that happened to like little bloggers back then. You've been Puck Daddied. You got featured in the links on Puck Daddy, or sometimes you might have even written about you. So like to see the Puck Daddy blog disappear like that, or at least, I mean, it's going to be different without Greg, right? I don't know if the Puck Daddy blog itself is disappearing, but like that's the end of an era. Wish not being on Yahoo Sports and Merrick versus Wyshynski not being a show. That's sad.
It is. But change unfortunately inevitable.
Or is it two guys who should have always been bigger than they are, who are now being given the opportunity to
be as big as they are? Yeah. And sometimes, unfortunately, projects, that are great have to end to make room for other projects.
Ron McLean knows the most out of anybody in hockey. Who's second? Like, I think it's Jeff and then the rest of the world, really. Like, in terms of guys who can just talk. There's insiders who are extremely good at what they do, and, that's another echelon. But in terms of guys who can just talk about hockey, who's better than Jeff? Damn!
I would have said Pierre Maguire.
Can you name someone better at talking hockey than Jeff Merrick? I can!
So we'll be back next Tuesday. We're going to have actual Saturday night hockey to talk about. This is fantastic. We're back into the season, ladies and gentlemen.
Hosting the tailgate party at Maple Leaf Square for the home opener.
So definitely don't come down to Maple Leaf Square.
What time is that? Tell people.
I think it's 5 to 7.
From 5 to 7 at
Maple Leaf Square.
35 Bremner.
Maybe I should check.
I made up the number 35. Is that correct?
I don't think so. That might be where the Panago is.
Go to the Panago Pizza on Bremner, everyone.
Here, I can get you an actual answer that's not incorrect. Nope, not in that email. Oh well.
Panago Pizza on Bremner Boulevard in Toronto, Ontario. Go there.
From 5 to 7. Potentially 4 to 7.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's 5 to 7. Go Leaf, 7-2.
There you go. See you next Tuesday.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.